Hello my friends and welcome. Let's go to the latest update from the front lines. We have the confirmation from the Ukrainian officials and also the Russian army that Russians left Andriivka and Ukrainians liberated the small village. Just yesterday I told you about this case, but Ukrainian officials said that this information is not true. I guess that Ukrainian military officials want to be the only source for the news announcement, but we already knew yesterday that Ukrainian army took this village. With the confirmation we have this blue area expansion, so yesterday and today. The similar stuff is happening in Klishchiivka. Officially there is the Russian army still, but from the information that we have, Russians withdraw their forces, but I would agree with the deep state military map. Still they're in this area. It means that they have some sort of the small trenches over there, and technically they're still in Klishchiivka if they defend in this forest line, but it will not happen for a very long time. Ukrainian army already broke through the Russian defense in those two of the villages, causing the Russian 72nd Brigade to just collapse. Mainly it doesn't exist any longer. I saw many of the videos how their positions were demolished in Andriivka. The 72nd Russian Army Brigade was one of the most powerful in the Bakhmut area, and now it's gone completely. Well, still some of the soldiers survived and they moved behind the railroad over here, but all of the command, most of the infantry and officers were kaput. It was possible again because Ukraine used the tactics to demolish every possible point where the Russian soldiers might hide. Our army does it with artillery systems, HIMARS and JDAMs. That's why Russia probably has many more losses compared to Ukrainian side nowadays. The problem for Russia that they don't have quite a lot of supplies in this direction. No counter-artillery radars, basically nothing. So what is the next move from Ukrainian side? As I told you already, the main aim is to go to Opetne, but we cannot do it without taking those villages under control. And Russia unfortunately has some of the forces over there, excluding the 72nd Brigade. The aim for Ukraine is not to go straight to Bakhmut. We could have done it from this direction, but Russia is getting ready for it, plus urban environment fighting brings lots of the losses. So the main target, the best case, would be to encircle it from the south to get control over this road. Russia uses it as their main supply for the Bakhmut city. This is a very long scenario, my friends, unfortunately, because Ukraine still is unable to move from the north side of the Bakhmut area to Yahidne, Pidhorne, and still those critical hills are controlled by Russians. What we have here, Storm Z, the private military army, and 200 separate motorized brigade. So the most critical part is over here with this hill. Nevertheless, Ukrainian army has the success on the south from the Bakhmut area. We broke through the Russian defense and the main railroad that goes from Andriivka to Klishchiivka and to Bakhmut. Seeing the success of Ukrainian army, obviously Russia would try to send more reinforcements to that area, and in that case Ukraine may try to attack from the north. This is what our army liberated recently, the Andriivka village. Do you see any village over there? Those used to be the houses, and now there is nothing. Everything is grounded totally. The village is no more, together with the 72nd Russian Brigade, the remains of which went across the road and to this place somewhere. Another military map resource from the ISW confirms the movement of Ukrainian army liberating the Andriivka village. As you see, the Ukrainian counterattack started in many of the areas of the front lines, and Russian army dispersed across it. We see this logic from the Ukrainian command. If Ukraine had concentrated all of the forces in this area, Russians would have to send many more brigades to hold the Ukrainian counteroffensive, and in that case they might have taken those from those areas. But now, with multiple vectors of Ukrainian attack, they are unable to withdraw the forces from those critical areas. Alright, about the Russian submarine that they lost in Sebastopol dry docks. The British-made satellite was used to take this very detailed image, I would say, as for the satellite image, and we may see that the submarine was targeted in the front part. Let's check out the scheme of the submarine. So here we see many of torpedoes on the forward part. I think that probably torpedoes were removed since the boat was on the maintenance, but I'm not sure about it. But what we know that with 100% of the chance this U-boat went totally kaput forever. Why? Because the damage for the submarine construction is significant, and those are very sensitive for the construction damage. The only way how Russia might repair the submarine is that in case the internal part of the submarine was not destroyed by the fire or critically damaged, they may cut the front part, make the new one and put with this part all together. But something tells me that Russia will not do it. They will not invest that lot of the funds for the submarine repair jobs. Basically, I think that it would be less expensive to build a new submarine than repairing this one. The Ukrainian special services reported that they've hit one more Russian ship. The name of it is Samum. From what I can see, it may carry cruise missiles. The Ukrainian side says that they used the new modification of the drone boat that is capable to operate during the stormy conditions. That is how the waves may hide the appearance of the drone near to the ship. So it was the successful strike to the aft right side of the ship. The ship didn't turn into the submarine. Russia managed to tow it back to the port. However, as it is reported, the damages were significant. Yet we neither have the official confirmation from the Russian side nor the footages coming from the port about the ship, and also there is no video published from the drone boat. What we have is the Ukrainian official statement, and usually it's correct. It's been confirmed that President Zelensky is going to meet with President Biden on 21st of September. They're going to discuss the new military support of Ukraine. The United States of America helps the most because they have the biggest resource and the biggest army, by the way, the biggest storages and the biggest production of the weaponry. But also we have some other countries like, for example, Germany, which is the second after the United States of America. I remember then people blamed Germany for not providing the military supplies for Ukraine, but actually it's not like that. As I say to you, it's the second country after the United States to provide the military support for Ukraine. Also, I think that Scholz will finally agree to send the Taurus cruise missiles to Ukrainian army. However, what worries me over here that Western countries just started the production of the weaponry. This process is not fast and it requires lots of the credits and investments. It looks like no one thought that they would have to produce the weaponry that much. Because of that slow generation of the required resources, the war may continue for quite a while. Some of the German officials, for example, yesterday said that this war may continue till 2032, totally for around 10 years. Why? Because the only way to win in this full-scale war is to have more resources, much more resources compared to your enemy. Now Ukraine still has less resources compared to Russia, but we have the good resources. That is why Ukraine goes on a counterattack, which by the way goes very slowly. Much slower than expected, and again it's the question about resources. Russia started the production, the massive production of the artillery shells, tanks and the cruise missiles. Ukraine also gets the weaponry, but there is no surge in supplies for Ukraine. We need at least 8 million artillery shells to conquer Russia on the front lines. Otherwise, this war will continue for a very long time, for 10 years or even longer, and there is no place for the peace solution at this stage. Every world leader, let's say, who tried to make some peace in Ukraine now says that there is no peace in a nearby perspective, which is very sad as for me because we're losing our soldiers. By the way, Russia wants to announce the new massive mobilization this autumn. They refused to admit it, but the last time they also refused during the autumn mobilization in 2022. Alright, the German Defense Minister Pistorius now confirms that they may transfer the Taurus cruise missiles for Ukraine. Before he said that they will not transfer it, so we have the exactly same situation as it was with Leopard 2 tanks. Then the United States agreed to transfer the Abrams tanks, which by the way is going to Ukraine just right now and probably will arrive the next week. After that, Germany agreed to supply the Leopard 2 tanks. So very soon, I hope the next week, we expect the common decision from the United States and Germany to supply ATACMS together with Taurus cruise missiles. Yes, it will be like that. I predict it. The Ukrainian Air Force confirmed that they've used the Storm Shadow and Scalpel cruise missiles to attack the Sevastopol ports. So it is the normal thing. From one side we have the Storm Shadow and from the other side we have the Scalpel cruise missile, which is basically identical to the Storm Shadow. This missile was made in cooperation between the United Kingdom and France, like Concorde, let's say. Today, the Russian Defense Minister Shoigu visited the factory that produces the Russian K-52 attack helicopters. Yes, they still produce those, but actually not more than 5 per year. Why is it happening? Because Russia is in lack of the spare parts for the critical equipment, for example, aiming equipment and other stuff. However, they modernized the new K-52 and now producing the K-52M version that is able to target the targets for the range up to 15 kilometers. It is very significant as for helicopters, let's say, and that is why Ukraine also needs the F-16 fighter jets to conquer those helicopters. By the way, Russia has half of them left in their fleet. The rest were targeted by the Ukrainian air defense or our fighter jets. Russia says that K-52 helicopter is much better than Apache. Probably I need to film the entire video saying why this helicopter is not even close to Apache. The North Korean leader also went to the Russian factory to see the Sukhoi Su-35 airplanes. Probably the North Korea wants to get those airplanes. Instead of K-52, Sukhoi Su-35 is really a powerful machine. Indeed, it is the great competitor for most of the Western-made fighter jets. But the number of those airplanes in the Russian army is quite limited. The Ukrainian intelligence says that Kadyrov is in critical medical condition, not because he got wounds, but because of his health problems. Not sure if it's correct, but it was reported by our officials. Well, for a while Kadyrov wasn't looking like a healthy person, but for now I wouldn't trust even this official information. We need to see the proofs. Kadyrov in the hospital or something like that. My friends, don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my channel, there will be some of the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, you are awesome. Thank you so much for your kind support. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.